Simplicity. The craziest thing, that watch is the watch that my late father wore when I was growing up.
The exact watch? No, the
Exact-
same model.
But the exact same model. So I was like, holy fuck. It's like, so that's why I saw it as like a sign from my father, just like fucking, you know,
Stick to the basics.
stick to the basics, simple. Don't try to be.
I'll tell you what, this whole story is a little bit out of character. It's not you.
I know.
I don't think you belong with these
Crypto.
with these crypto guys buying watches, used. You listen, go to the store, build a relationship. You have an amazing AP house.
Mm.
I'll introduce you.
You please introduce me. Yeah.
I'll introduce you.
Okay. I'll be AP guys. Screw with
AP
that.
sticks. I mean, listen, stick to retail, stick to the store.
Yeah.
You don't get scammed.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm really sorry this happened to you.
It was a powerful lesson, you know, it was like,
To be yourself.
yeah.
The crypto thing doesn't suit you.
No.
It doesn't, you work too hard for that.
Courses, crypto.
Well, Alex,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on the podcast.
It's my pleasure.
We're rolling.
Let's do it.
Around the world with your host, the Gstaad Guy. We welcome you back to the Gstaad Guy podcast, sharing stories of excellence with those in the know for those who just know.
I'm really excited for this conversation. I've mentioned you in at least 2 or 3 episodes
Oh, really?
so far. And I mention you at least on a weekly basis to friends and people I meet as a dear friend and brother who has been so incredibly impactful in my business, my personal growth, and in the way that I see the world in an optimistic way. Partially because of the things you tell me, but also partially because of who you are. You make me optimistic about humanity and entrepreneurship and family life in so many different ways. I had the pleasure of meeting you, I think, 4 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Most likely around that time.
4, 3?
4-3. Time flies.
Time flies. I've learned so many amazing things about the world and about you and about the way you perceive the world in that time. And I'm incredibly grateful for you as a friend and very excited about this conversation.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you for being here. So for those who don't know, Alex Ikonn, you are a serial entrepreneur, started many businesses with your ex-wife,
Mm-hmm.
many of your own as well. Originally Russian-Canadian,
Mm-hmm.
now living in London. Beautiful family, beautiful daughter, beautiful businesses, couple of crypto mistakes
That we just talked about, yes.
that we just talked about. But for the most part, you have built incredible things. I'm excited to learn more about those things and how you manage to always stay true to who you are regardless today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be in your jet.
I'm so happy you're in my jet. This is not my jet. This is Steve Barsano's The Jet Business fuselage in Mayfair in London. So we are in London. I don't know if you realized that when you were walking here. You're not actually on a real plane. But I'm also very happy to see these Loro Piana summer walks on your feet.
Of course, always.
Very chic.
Yeah.
Very good.
I still remember our Gstaad trip with Damien and Laura
was
Piana.
amazing.
That was incredible.
That was amazing. Mike, I have a question for you. Where's the Poubelle?
I forgot it. Before we started, I apologize. It's honest mistake.
It's a shocking mistake.
It's a shocking mistake.
It's a really
I will
shocking
not
mistake.
repeat it again.
I mean, I actually would love to start by telling the audience about that because I'm sure most of the audience is aware of my jewelry business, Poubelle,
Yes.
which actually the idea started flowing at dinner with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how well you remember this. We were at a sushi place in South Kensington.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called?
Yashin?
We're at Yashin.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I was just there for lunch right now.
There you go. So we're at Yashin. And it's called Yashin or Yashin?
I don't know. I call it Yashin.
Whatever. We were at Yashin.
Although, as you know, I own one of the partners of Sumi, so let's not name them. The better establishment is Sumi.
Sumi Notting Hill.
And
Make
Endo,
sure
yeah.
And Endo. Make sure you go to Endo and Sumi Notting Hill. We were at Yashin and you asked me how my rosé business is going. I said that I'm not incredibly passionate about it as a consumer, but I am as a business operator, which is very common for a lot of business operators. And you advised me to start a business that I could have incredible passion and love for as a consumer first. And you looked at my wrists. I was wearing these €1 bracelets that I'd buy during my travels. You said, I think you should do something with bracelets. I don't know what it is, but do something with bracelets. And I came back to you with a deck for Poubelle
Mm-hmm.
an idea to have this sort of members club feel and bring people together through these interests they share. And you invested blindly.
Well, not blindly. You invest in the person, and I invested in you.
I appreciate that. We asked for no further info. You just wrote me a check, invested in Poubelle. And I think that is a small example of how incredibly trusting you are of people you believe in. And I feel honored that I'm one of those people you believe in.
For sure.
Without you, Poubelle wouldn't be here today.
Thank you for saying that.
I wouldn't either. So
yeah. And I'm excited what you're going to keep creating with Poubelle, because it's not just about the bracelet. I think it's really about the lifestyle that you're creating and around it. So there's so much more coming.
I appreciate that. Well, Alex, I would love to share with the audience who you are and what your story is. I've had the pleasure of getting to know you really well over the past few years, and I know you have incredible stories to share, but I'd love to talk about your early life as an entrepreneur in Canada, working at a bank, meeting your ex-wife, and how you went from basically just like sleeping in your car at one point to becoming a struggling entrepreneur and eventually a successful entrepreneur.
For sure. I think, I like to start with actually selling flowers when I was 11 years old. Because I moved to Canada when I was about 9 years old, and then my mother divorced my father when I was around 10. And here I am with a single mother, 2 kids, don't speak English, and I want to be like the rest of the kids, which is, I want to go to the movies, I want to do something, but I can't. I would ask my mom, hey, can I have money? She's like, no money. I'm like, okay, so what do I do? So my sister is like, hey, there's this guy who picks up children. This is gonna sound so wrong. Who picks up children at a 7-Eleven near our house. It's like across the street in the gas station, there's a 7-Eleven. And
so the guy from the gas station picks up kids.
No, not even from the gas station. The guy's this older dude. I know it sounds so wrong. But I'm telling you. So, hey, I'm still here to tell the story, okay? So I'm 11 years old. My sister is like 15. She's like, hey, there's this guy on a Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. He'll pick you up in a van. He'll pick up all these kids. And he'll take you to a random strip mall plaza outside of Toronto. So like, he'll just drop you off. He'll give you a bucket of flowers, and that bucket of flowers, say, costs $30, and you have like 10 bouquets in there. So it's like, okay, this is your cost, right? This is your bucket, and you have all day. I'll pick you up. I'll be here back in 9 hours. So here you are with a bucket of flowers in this random strip mall plaza, as a kid with no English.
You have to pay him back the 13, you keep the upside.
Yeah. So whatever I sell, and I keep the upside. So for me, the reason I tell the story is because I'm very grateful for this man that was doing very, I'm sure, illegal thing of.
It's literally child labor. It's like immigrant child labor. It's horrific.
God bless this man. Because it taught me very early, like, the basics of business. And as you know, I think business is actually very simple. It's not complicated. You buy something, you sell something, you have a margin, that's it. Yeah, that's your profit. That's as how I see business. Of course, it can be in various ways. You can put some leverage on it, get very fancy. But at the core, you solve a certain, problem or a challenge, and you help people with that. In that case, I think the reason he got these kids, because people just probably felt sorry for this immigrant child and just wanted to buy flowers from me. And it taught me a lot about, entrepreneurship. It taught me a lot about sales, being charismatic, and all sorts of other things. Fast forward, of course, selling flowers was not going to be my gateway into entrepreneurship right away. So I didn't quit school. And instead, I wanted to become a banker. Because back then, going to finance was the way that you're going to make money. I'm very grateful for the bank because that's where I met my future wife. However, 2008 hit and I get fired. So I get sacked. And the reason I get fired is because I actually have a side business. So even though I was working at the bank full time, I was going to university full time. I had another side business.
Did Mimi, your ex-wife, also get fired?
No, she quit.
Fine. Were you already dating when you quit? When she quit and you got fired?
Yes, we were dating, and which is also not legal, or bank doesn't want you to date other staff. But anyways, and so here I am, 2008, no job, and this is when social media is just opening up. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram doesn't exist yet. And I see how this is going to change everything. This is going to change commerce. And you're also very early onto a lot of, as being as a creator, but especially 2008, this is now almost like 20 years ago. My first business was to be a social media consultant. Back then, you were called a snake oil salesman because nobody believed in social media and that you can actually sell things through YouTube. However, we had the idea of, because at first, how I got to this point, as you're referring me to the beginning, of being aligned with the business to make money, so what you're passionate about. Because my first business, I wasn't passionate about the product at all. I just wanted to make money. The business was selling hair extensions. So I didn't care what product to sell. I was poor and I just wanted to make money. And that was my thing to get out of the situation that I was in.
And your ex-wife was a content creator.
Well, she wasn't a content creator at all, because the way what I thrive in, I love the 0 to 1. Like similar to when we're in a restaurant, we're just talking life, business ideas, and I love being able to kind of spot opportunities and to align, hey, you're doing this, you should do this, kind of connecting people to their passion and purpose and what they do. So Mimi at that point, she's not a professional hairstylist, she's not a creator, she's never been on camera, and we're getting married and she's looking for hair extensions for the wedding. And I'm like, as a clueless male, I'm like, what are hair extensions? I don't understand. Why do you need hair? You have hair. And she's like, well, I need it for the wedding. I want to look like a mermaid. And I'm like, okay, and how much is this? And she's like, it's going to be like $400 in a salon. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So there I go. I quickly check on Alibaba. And I'm like, hey, I can source these hair extensions for like $50. Sell them for, once again, like the flowers for $120. Make my profit. Boom, happy days. And because I knew about social media and we didn't have much capital, I said, let's start a YouTube channel. So in 2010, I said, you're going to be a content creator. You're going to create videos every week about hair and teach people how to do different hairstyles. And that YouTube channel from 2010 till 2016 became one of the largest channels on YouTube about showing people how to take care of their hair, how to do different hairstyles. Over 500 million views. You can go on that channel now, and there's videos with tens of millions of views.
All Mimi.
But just Mimi showing how to do different hairstyles. Her sister was involved with it at the beginning too, because she was also unemployed. But very quickly, in our first year, we kind of made our first million, and we're like in our mid-20s, not at all thinking we're going to make a lot of money. And we realized then, for us, that this is not it. Like, we're living the lifestyle, we're traveling, whether it be in south of France or going to Costa Rica and surf for 2 months. By all means, we should be happy, but we weren't. Because for us, the consumerism and just getting external stuff didn't really help validate us or our well-being. And that's where we went for a deeper search, for a deeper purpose in our lives than just making money.
Did you exit the business?
We did sell the business 8 years after. So unlike some of my entrepreneur friends, just because you have an existential entrepreneurial crisis doesn't mean you just dump the business and, and drop it. We still scaled it, grew the business, and successfully exited in 2018.
Can you talk about how much you exited the business for?
All I can say, because it is private, but we were bought by Beauty Industry Group, which was backed by L. Catterton. L. Catterton, I believe, gave them north of 500 million to round up the whole industry of hair extensions in the US, because that industry alone was around 5 billion a year industry in the US. So we sold, I'll say, fairly early in our business. Our business was doing low 8 figures, profitable, And it was, for us, it was a life-changing amount that allowed us to live in London. I actually still have made more money selling hair extensions than I have selling journals. That's what a lot of people, yeah, because even though we've sold, millions of units of journals as well, but when you have a certain exit and we had a really good multiple, it helps you out. So I'm still on that up trajectory with intelligent change.
Love that. So you sold the hair extension business. You then moved to London. You had a beautiful daughter with your wife, meaning,
Mm-hmm.
and you started a whole new business with a whole new mission and state of mind when starting the business. It wasn't with a capital intention. It was with a more social purpose, right?
Well, it wasn't, because similar to you, when we were chatting, there was like a friend of a friend who was looking to create a business, and he read this book called The 4 Hour Work Week, and he's like, "Is this real? Like, can you actually have a business where you just work 4 hours a week and travel?" And he started asking around, "Do you know anybody who's actually done this?" And of a friend, his name was Guy. This guy's name was Guy, and Guy's like, "Hey, talk to Alex. He's actually done this 4 hour work week thing." Because another difference between how we built the previous business, we built it as a lifestyle business. So we would just barely work, travel the world, and make money. That was our whole whole
Do
thing.
you actually barely work?
Yeah. So we would be like in Costa Rica, I'd work, well, not 4 hours a week, maybe 8 hours a week.
2 hours a day for
2
4
hours
days.
a day. Yeah. Like more or less. Yeah. And so we then get connected, and then he's like, "Teach me how to create a 4 hour work week business." And I told him, like, at first, I don't even know you, right? Let's just get to know each other as people. And because he was very just like, teach me the ways. And then we start chatting. We both learn that we're into self-development, wellness, well-being. And what I told him, similar to what I told you before, I said, don't create a business just for lifestyle or the money. Because there's two things. Number one, building anything is difficult. It's challenging. That's why there aren't that many millionaires, let's be real. And so in order to build something of value, it's going to be difficult. And you have to have a strong why to be able to get you through the times when most people quit. And two, what I've seen happen to many founders and entrepreneurs is even if they succeed and they build big businesses, but if they're not passionate about the business, and by all means, there's many people who are totally fine with that. And we kind of discussed it where you have a lifestyle, your business is totally separate, you don't care about it. But me personally, I need to have a business that I'm aligned with, that I'm excited about. And I believe many people are like that as well, where they share my views on this as well. So I told them, this is what I believe in. And I think for you, instead of just creating a lifestyle business just to make money, create something that you're actually aligned with, that you care about and love, that you'll be excited about. Even if maybe it doesn't go as well, you'll be proud of what you have created. And I said, let's reverse engineer, similar to how we were saying. I said, let's reverse engineer to what you do on a daily basis, what you like, what you purchase, how you spend your time. Because ideally, you want to run a business that doesn't feel like work.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like fun. And so he's like, hey, I meditate for an hour every morning. I journal for an hour every morning, and I work out for every day for an hour. I'm like, dude, like that's 3 hours.
It's crazy.
That you do on this wellness morning practice. And you've seen this on social media now. These people have these crazy morning routines. I'm like, this is good for you, but you're at that time, I'm like, you're 25, single, unemployed, and you have this time. Most people don't have time like you do. However, they do want to do something in their life to help them have a better routine, have a better mindset. And for me, what I did to help me create the mindset and even my previous life is by just practicing gratitude. Is when my life was really low, I just force myself to, when I wake up, to just say one thing that I'm grateful for. And that one simple habit changed my life. So I'm like, hey, your 1 hour journaling practice, although you love it, I think is a bit too much. I think most people won't do an hour of journaling. I would like to start journaling myself personally, but I'm not a journaler. I'll give you 5 minutes. So let's just create something like the 5-minute journal where it's just going to take 5 minutes a day, and you do it every morning and every evening, like brushing your teeth, as we call it, like it's a toothbrush for the mind. And let's do this as a test product. As Tim Ferriss calls it, the muse business. You need a muse to start. And I said, let's print 1,000 of these. And the best way for you to learn is to actually do. So let's go into business together, 50-50, big mistake. And I was walking with my good friend John this morning. He said 50-50 businesses should be illegal.
Why?
Because with 50-50, you're in a situation where you're in a stalemate. No one has majority. No one can really make decisions. You need both of you to agree. And there'll be moments in the business where you won't both agree. And somebody has to take a lead in the business. And so this is why John's like, don't do 50-50. And I've learned as well, I said, from that situation, I did have to buy out my business partner later on in the business. But we went in 50-50, printed 1,000 units, and I took him through all these stages of how to source a product, how to market the product, how to set up fulfillment, e-commerce, all the things we just did for Poubelle. We did back then in early 2013 when we launched that product. So it was, in a way, Intelligent Change, which is the main business that I focus on now, started as just like a side business, to which now is a business that I'm really passionate about, and looking forward to creating even more things for humanity as a whole.
I love that. So what products do you sell today?
So today our bestseller is still the 5-minute journal. That's our kind of flagship product that we're known for. And we also have the 5-minute journal app, which is fairly popular as well, available both on iOS and Android. My favorite products that we have beyond the 5-minute journal is called the productivity planner. And the productivity planner is same thing. Because a lot of these tools, like even the 5-minute journal, all it is, they're frameworks. They're frameworks and templates that you can implement without having to create and think about of how to journal or how to be productive. We give you a template, easy template to follow, and you do it. So productivity planner follows a very simple method of, in order for you to be productive, it's not about doing 20 tasks a day. If you just focus on and just do one most important task of the day, you're golden. If you just do one thing that you actually have to do, versus, because many people's to-do list, they have, let's say, 20 things that they want to do today. And what usually people will pick out the things that they want to do versus the things that they actually have to do. As they also say, you have to eat the frog. You have to do the thing that you don't want to do and get it done. So that's what the productivity planner is based on. We also have products like the Best Year Journal, which is a product to help you review your year and then plan the next year. And the one that we just launched now, which is doing really well, is called the Life Designer. And Life Designer is really helping you envision and create the future of your life. Because many of us just stumble through life. And what I've noticed, the people who actually succeed, they have a vision for the future that they're creating. And you don't just build, Rome overnight. You have a big master plan and a vision for building something great.
I think a lot of these things I think about with no structure. It also definitely helps to structure them. I started making vision boards a few years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What's on your vision board?
Yes, it's my vision board is 4 quadrants. I think it's the Oprah vision board. My boss at Apple, when I was working at Apple, asked me to make one. Her name was Ashna. Well, Her name is Ashna.
Why did she ask you to make one?
Honestly, she was the greatest boss of all time. She cared more about my personal development than my development at work, because she just knew that would trickle down into growth in the office. And she really wanted me to know what I work for and what I wake up for, and to remind myself of what I want. And she inspired me to start making a vision board. She would make one every year, I think in December or January. And I made one for the first time when I was still at Apple. One of my visions was to quit my job. One of my visions was to start a business, to scale Gstaad Guy, to get closer to people that inspire me and build friendships with them, and nurture those relationships with mentors and with friends, to get into better shape, to eventually move out of my parents' home and get my own place. I'd say, touch wood, 30 or 40% of what was on my vision board has happened within 18 months. So maybe the time wasn't there, but...
And how did you do it? Did you do it in Pinterest?
It's all visual.
Pinterest board?
Like I would open a PowerPoint or a keynote and just make 4 quadrants. It was health and wellness, material things and business, like things that actually inspire me, like a beautiful home or, things like that. People that inspire me in relationships I need to nurture. People I should speak more to on a daily basis who make me feel better and make me more inspired. And then the bottom right, I think, was like exact day-to-day goals and business goals and things. So,
and how would you represent the business goals? Would it be in writing? Numbers?
Those numbers. Followers, income.
And why do you think it's powerful to have that vision for what you want to create?
I think that when emotion kicks in, it can shadow logic and shadow what the actual drivers are. So if I'm sitting at my desk and I'm working, and my emotion of, let's say, laziness or sadness or procrastination or low self-esteem or any of those things kick in naturally for any person, I look up at the vision board and realize that's what I need to work towards, and I can't let my emotions steer me off that path. So it's just like a visual daily reminder of the why. Let's keep pushing.
It's super powerful. And it's the same reason why I've created, like, say, the 5-minute journal. It's more of a written representation of that vision for the day. Mm-hmm. So you start off with like 3 things that you're grateful for. So you just, again, appreciate what you currently have. Because I think in order to create something, you can't be coming from a needy place. You need to be coming from a place of fulfillment. Like what's already in your life, you're appreciating. You're not just asking for more and more. You have to first appreciate before you get more. And then second one is, what will make today great? Or what will I do to make today great? So say today I wrote, I'm going to go on the Gstaad Guy podcast and we'll have a great chat. We'll have fun. And so I'm already visualizing and envisioning how my day is going to go. Yeah. And so, as you said, you can do the more of a macro things, which is more of like the life designer or the vision board. And then you have to do the daily steps that you take in order to make that vision a reality. Because also recently, Dr. Tara Swart actually communicated that the way she sees vision boards, not even just vision boards, they're action boards. They're actually, what are the things that you want to envision, but also take action towards in your life. Versus it's like, okay, we're just going to sit here and things will just manifest in my life.
100%.
It doesn't work that way. It's like, it's more inspiring you to move into action and to do it.
Yeah. When I first had that dinner with you discussing Poubelle, I still had my full-time job at Apple. I was still living at my parents' house and was starting Gstaad Guy part-time. The vision board really helped me remember, don't forget that conversation with Alex, bring that idea to life. We launched 2 years later. I don't know if you remember, but it took 2 years after the conversation to launch the product. And of course, like any other founder, 100 times until that point, I thought, it's too much work. Let me just focus on the other things. So the vision board really did help me jump back into, let me try again. So visually, I think it's kind of like a friend who just says, don't forget about this thing you care about. Yeah.
And so with Intelligent Change, our company, that's what we are. Yeah. We are that friend that helps guide you toward that intelligent change in your life. Because the way I see it, there's no company like as big as Apple who are helping people on their journey through life. Like even school, no one ever taught us how to actually be fulfilled and reach our dreams and goals. As you said, like for you, it was that boss at Apple that was not even looking after you in terms of your career development, but also as who are you going to become as a person? And these people in our lives can do incredible things. And that's what I aspire to be for others, whether it be my friends or for strangers out there, because I genuinely believe in the good of the world, of people. There are 8 billion plus of us humans running around. Yes, things are not perfect, but more or less, it's a fairly peaceful society that we live in. And that's what I try to focus on, is the majority good versus the small bad.
I love that. When you started Intelligent Change, you did so with your ex-wife, Mimi.
Well, it was the partner, UJ, who, because it was 50-50. Mimi was always there. She's kind of like my muse. She's always been there. She's always been supportive, like a good wife is. I think a good wife is your partner. She's your life partner. She's your business partner. She's going to be there as your confidant, somebody you can trust, someone who knows you very well. And so Mimi has always been there as a partner. But in terms of initially, it was 50-50 with me and UJ, who's my best friend at the time. And like I said, the partnership broke.
Mm-hmm.
And we weren't friends for some time. We are rekindling our friendship now. He actually came to the Intelligent Change Summit last year. He's going to be coming back next week as well when we're hosting. But it was just us that were starting out. However, Mimi was, incredible towards helping that initial business growth, because Mimi, outside of the main business channel, which was Luxy Hair, which had over 3 million subscribers, she had her own personal channel as well, which had close to 1 million followers. And this is more than 10 years ago. And so she would make these videos when we launched about like, hey, here's my morning routine and here's my night routine. And those videos got millions of views.
Mm-hmm.
And especially back then, social media was way stronger than it is now, because now there's so many creators and has been so commercialized that many people don't trust. They don't just buy just because you're selling some product.
Mm-hmm.
But back then it was fairly new. It was like, ooh, what's this? It's this creator who created something and she uses this every day and her life is so beautiful. And I want my life to be like that too. So I'd say Mimi was a huge driver of the business initially. I also actually have my own YouTube channel, which I'm relaunching right now. I had about 250,000 subs.
Wow.
Yeah, and then YouTube shut it down one day. So I'm relaunching everything now. But we were creators, long time ago. And so we're restarting and relaunching a lot of things. But those initial pushes really helped. And that's why I said to you about, Poubelle and the business that you're starting. I believe we're in an age of, founders who are creators. It's not just about these faceless, nameless brands. People want to follow actual individuals. And that's why I believe in you right now doing, showing a different side of yourself outside of just your characters and letting people see the businessman, somebody who's building something, the type of people that you surround yourself with. Because I know a lot of the people that you're interviewing are actually people that you interact with on a daily. It's not just random people.
Yeah.
That gives people that deeper insight of your world and who you are and what you're building.
Mm-hmm.
And once people, they choose, do I want to be part of this world that you're creating? And this is the way I see with, let's say, what we're building with Intelligent Change. This is why I'm stepping back in. I think even with Poubelle, what you're doing, even I would love to see more behind the scenes of what you will create into the future. I saw some of that merch in Dubai. I don't know where. I would love that T-shirt or wherever it is. But I want to get deeper into the world that whoever is building.
I love that. Thank you. I'll try to work on that.
This podcast is brought to you by Poubelle by the Gstaad guy, bringing you charms hand-painted with enamel on 925 sterling silver, allowing you to express all the things you love and all the things you might question, from Riva bateaus to backgammon boards and caviar tins to paddle rackets. There is a Poubelle charm or completed set for everyone in the know. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy the podcast.
I'd like to play devil's advocate for a moment.
Of course, yeah, let's do it.
And say things that people have said around growing up about running businesses, starting businesses, and being a certain type of entrepreneur.
Mm.
And it's always about this, like, be a shark, like the big dog will eat the small dog, and like everyone's out to get you. And there's all these warnings for entrepreneurs and people just doing business in general. Some of them warranted, some of them exaggerated, I find. And from the moment I met you, through our mutual friend Sammy, who introduced me to you,
Yeah.
I realized you have been kindness first, love first, and deep connection first, and everything else second. And not in some act in a way to project or virtue signal in any way. It is truly you. You're such a kind, great man. Great to your wife at the time, great to your daughter, great to your friends, great to your business partners. And society growing up taught me to believe that those kumbaya tree huggers will never survive in these capitalist markets because they'll get eaten alive for being too kind. You know, nice guys finish last.
Mm.
But the nice guy finished first.
Mm.
And you've done incredible things and it's paid off incredibly. And I'd love for you to elaborate on that mindset that you are so true to, because I find it incredibly powerful.
Yeah, thank you so much. It all stems from my mother. And I think, you know, our mothers teach us a lot. For me, she's a true kind of angel, and she truly has that naive view of people are good. And that's what I've been instilled, even in the hard times and the challenging times. And it's something that I see that I want to carry into this world and reality of that by creating from heart, and that you can be rewarded. Because the most important lesson that I've learned about making money is before, when I was in scarcity, when I was poor, I was always thinking about myself. How can I get rich? How can I get money? But the moment I switched the narrative from how do I deliver value to other people? How do I give something to other people versus trying to take for myself? That's actually when I started making money. So even in regards to, say, creating content, when we created content, and we've created, like I said, hundreds of videos, and this is something like the formula that I spoke to you about, one of our kind of top values is to deliver value to people. And what I believe in is when you come from that place of giving first, somehow you'll get things back. But you don't have that expectation of even getting anything in return. And that's where I believe to leading first with kindness, leading first with abundance, leading with getting value to others, you're actually then able to create that value in business or for other people. Think about Apple. Apple is one of the most valuable companies in the world. Why? Because they help other people to create a lot of value. We use those devices to connect with family. We use those devices to run our businesses, to create content. And that's why they make so much money. So in some ways, it's not actually just a kumbaya principle, right, of delivering value. It's also a great business principle by seeing how you can create value for other people.
I love that. I've spoken to you before about the holistic kindness first, love first archetype that I found unappealing. The people that are always talking about kindness first, gratitude first, and they're wearing their really big hats. I told you, they drive me crazy.
In what way? Oh, yeah, the hats. Okay. Yeah.
The Tulum crowd, you know those guys, you know?
The spiritual people, yeah.
They're like I have nothing against spiritual people. I think it's a beautiful thing. But what I don't like is people who are performative in general.
Signaling, yeah.
I like people who are authentic,
yeah,
generally. And what I love about you is you truly embody the most important things people who do those things talk about, without the whole mumbo jumbo and the whole virtue signaling of, okay, now I'm dressing like I work at Scorpio's Mykonos everywhere, and I'm wearing these humongous hats all the time. The hats really get to me.
And the beads, you gotta get
the hats and the beads and the whole thing. I really love that you start from within and you apply it in all elements of your life. I know a lot of people who are really kind on the bus. They're really kind at a restaurant. They're really kind on a night out. But then they get home, and that's where their anger comes out. And they're actually unpleasant to their partner. And they're maybe unpleasant in the office. But they pick and choose the environments. Maybe it's not a conscious choice, and it's actually that's where their angers and insecurities lie. But they wear these different masks, whereas I feel like you've committed to a path of authenticity. And it's worked out very well for you. And I'm curious if has that been a conscious decision to always be the version of yourself that you love most, or if that's a natural thing that happened to you by consequence of the things you practice?
Yeah, I think it's thank you, and excellent question. Then we didn't get too deep into kind of my childhood or any of those kind of things, but especially from ages of like when I moved to Canada, 10 to 17, those were like my dark ages, which were kicked off and kind of culminated with my father dying when I just turned 18. And he died of cancer. He got diagnosis, and in 3 months he passed away. And for me, that was my first kind of my meeting with death, of somebody close to me passes away. And because he died over a few months, I got to visit him in hospice care and see him pass away slowly and wither away as a human. This man...
Quite quickly.
Yeah, quite quickly. But this man who was full of energy, life of the party, all of a sudden dying. And the reason I bring up the story, this is where a lot of my attitude of gratitude, of living life to the fullest comes from, was actually confronting death. Because when you confront death and that, hey, we're all on a death sentence here and we're going to die, every day that we wake up and we get to live is incredible. Like my baseline for life is waking up and moving. Everything else is a bonus. Even if you have a problem, it's a bonus. Like it's all extras. Like it's all just a plus. And that is the attitude that I live for. So in some ways, one of my biggest challenges and dark moments in life has allowed me to actually see life from a positive perspective. And this is why I choose gratitude. This is why I choose to see the good. Because especially growing up in, pretty much post-Soviet Union Russia, it's not the United Kingdom or Canada where I grew up, or the US. And that's why even for myself, when I realized that instead of complaining, because usually what happens to us, the greatest formula is the simplest formula, which is expectations minus reality equals happiness. That is it. And most of society that we live in now, the expectations are out of whack because what we see on social media and everywhere else. However, we have to ground ourselves with the reality of where we come from. And we all come from different places. We all have different challenges. And for myself, I never forget my challenges. A lot of times, even like yourself, a lot of people think Alex is this, super grateful, always happy dude. I wasn't like that all the time. And some people say, Alex never embraces his shadow. I lived in the shadow for a big part of my life, in the darkness. And what I realized is I don't have to make my suffering my reality. And I can change my reality by choosing to what I focus on. And this is really why the tools that we create with Intelligent Change, from even, like these little positive quotes and reminders and practicing daily on choosing what you focus on, I see it in myself as a reminder. Because if I don't flex that mental muscle of seeing the good, very quickly, we as humans actually have a negative predisposition. We will be able to focus on the negativity in our lives because that was the basis of our survival. And that's why potentially, hey, nice guys don't finish last, because you have to be observant, you have to be aware. And that's why you have to be critical. And sometimes you have to be negative because the guy who's too positive got killed by the lion in those bushes, So, and that's what but the times have changed, and we don't no longer live in the jungle. We live in the cities, yes, super competitive, but at the same time, the people who succeed are the ones who work together with other people, who are liked by other people. And this is why I really observe my reality, and I choose to surround myself with people who see the good. If people are also, you learn from your mistakes. If people are out there to scam you, get scammed once, okay, cool, you learn your lesson, you move on. Yeah, we talked about it before. So overall, it's something that an attitude that I've nurtured, and at the same time, I keep nurturing. I don't believe it's like you go to the gym, you worked out for a few years, you're super fit, and now you can just chill. It doesn't work that way. In life, you're either growing or you're dying. You can't just be like, get to a certain level of money or business and be like, okay, I can just relax now. Because inflation, no, but you're like at a certain point. But even then, inflation and everything else can eat your things away too.
Sure. I'm going to play devil's advocate on that topic.
Perfect, let's do it.
And because I'm just sure that some of our viewers may think it's easier to have that mindset when you have the luxury and resources to spend more time focusing on your personal growth and self. Long story short, I would think that if I had the money for it, because I could have more hours unlocked, I could have less financial worries, which I think is partially true. How has your mindset differed before and after you exited and sold your hair extension business?
No difference. But the reason I say that is because I was making good money before the exit. So, and as soon as I started...
How about before making money? Maybe that's a better question.
I would say that is the attitude that has allowed me to make money. I don't think I would have been able to make money if I had the attitude that I had, which was attitude of scarcity, attitude of, the world's against me.
Mm-hmm. So even when resources were scarce, you had the mindset of abundance.
I didn't. I'm saying when I switched my mindset is when my whole life changed. And that's why I'm such a big believer in what we do and we create, because in the community that I grew up in, it's scarcity. It's, I remember I've had moments when we're on welfare. I've had moments where we had, a food bank deliver food to us, and I felt like a total reject of society. So I felt those lows, but at the same time, in those type of communities, sometimes the reason why people don't get out is really the mindset. One of the organizations that we support, because with Intelligent Change, we also give back 1% of our profits, 1% of our product, and 1% of our time towards charitable causes. And one organization that we support in South Africa, in Cape Town, which is one of my favorite places, is called Earth Child Project. And what the owner of this NGO does, which is incredible, she brings a lot of these mindfulness tools to kids in the ghetto, pretty much, or I think there's a different term for it in South Africa. And the first question even I asked her, like, these kids, like, this is not just poor, this is really poor. This is beyond even the poor that I grew up in. These are like these slums. And at the same time, in these schools, they provide kids with this ability to have these classes where they teach them yoga, where they teach them about mindfulness, where they teach about like belief, vision boards, these kind of things. And you'd be thinking, these kids don't need these luxury things, they need just basic things. However, the reason we support this organization is because I myself used to be, close to one of those kids. In terms of those communities, what got me out of that type of community was this vision to think beyond of my whatever I'm currently in as an environment, and be able to dream, be able to see beyond the limitations of the community that I'm part of. And that's why I'm a big believer in that. And for me, there was a moment where in my life I started to be a victim. I started to blame, be like, look at me, I'm this poor kid, no father. My mother, I never see her because she has to work. Just like this, just overall complaining. Like, government, why am I not rich? Why am I not like this? And there was like a lightning that hit me, which said, no one cares about you. Like, the world's against you. However, I flipped that no one cares about me into, yeah, no one cares about me. But you know who cares about me? Myself. Right now is the moment where I can take responsibility for my life, and the only one who cares about me is myself. So how do I start taking responsibility? How do I start, working out, working on my mindset, reading books? And when I started doing that, that's when I was able to meet the love of my life. That's when I was able to bring together people who are not just wasting their time and their energy, but actually people who are uplifting, not just trying to be like, hey, let's go drink and watch football or whatever, but people who are like, hey, talking about business ideas, goals, and creation. And that's when I was able to then start my first business. And even now, as you've been to the Intelligent Change Summit, the type of people that both of us are around now, they're creators of their life. They're not victims of their life. They choose every day, even when the world is hard, even when they get challenges thrown on them, let's do it. Let's make it happen. That's what I think makes really the difference, is the doers versus like just the dreamers. You have to be both.
I agree. I'm so blessed and grateful that most of my dearest friends today are actually new friends from the past few years who share those values. And I had to see less people and talk to less people and really unfriend a lot of people that weren't aligned with my values and vision for the type of life I wanted to lead. And you're one of those new friends that really helps me be the best version of myself that I know my past self and future self will admire the most. So
yeah,
grateful to you for that.
No, thank you. And I'm excited about all the wisdom that you're dropping on Gstaad Guy and then what you're creating. It's incredible.
I appreciate it. One thing I'd love to talk about that you touched on lightly is your love life. Aside from all your business success, I find that many of your friends that are also friends of mine now have always admired you as a partner to your ex-wife, as a father to your daughter, and as someone who managed to balance your relationship incredibly well. Was that always the case when you started initially seeing Mimi, dating Mimi, and eventually starting a family with her?
For sure. I think I've always prioritized, especially our relationship. I think the beautiful thing, even, we've talked about with you in terms of choosing a partner, is this idea of also world building together. To me, a wife shouldn't just be like your purse that you carry. It's not just a side piece. Like it's something that is a main character in your life. And if you have a partner in that way, it can be very enriching to you as a man. And although Mimi and I have went separate ways, we were together for 16 years. So it's a very long time. And that's why, even when I speak to people now, it's like, hey, let's get to 16 years and then we'll talk, in terms of like what it takes to build a relationship, especially in our age now where people are choosing to be single because it's easier. When you go into a relationship, marriage, or having a child together, you're going to have to work through things out. And it's going to take a lot of work from both parties in order to be able to create something. And so for me, same thing is that has been really about focusing on how do I bring my best self to that relationship, or who do I want to show up as, and hopefully your partner is doing the same. And so, although I didn't have a Disney ending with for forever, I'm very grateful to the time that we've had together. And you're also one of those friends that I shared when we're going through our kind of difficulties in separation, and as you said, hey, it's all green flags. So I'll forever have it in my memory because, as you know kind of me personally and how I am, and so it just stands to this belief of do the best that you can.
What are some tips you can share with the audience that are striving for at least a 16-year relationship where there's incredible cooperation, communication, and alignment in vision with their partner?
Yeah, I think similar to what we're speaking about, like one of our products, which is called the Life Designer, is going through that process. One of the first exercises is understanding your values. And what are your values as an individual, not even as a couple? And you have to first understand what is important to you. And then seeing, does the other person share your values? And those can be things like values of family. Maybe one person doesn't want to have kids and the other one does. Well, that's a big problem. Maybe one of your values is religion, but the other person is not religious. Well, that's probably going to be a big problem. So sticking to basics, like identifying your values. And the thing with Mimi, what connected us, when we met, as I spoke about earlier, we're just two broke kids living in suburbs of Toronto in Canada. But we had a vision of how do we build an international business, travel, have a lifestyle that is beautiful. That was just a dream. That dream is what connected us to join forces and to go on this journey together. That's what made it exciting. And we were able to make this dream a reality, which also culminated with, the birth of our daughter, whose, also middle name is Love, because we were in love, like when we were able to create her. So it's just a continuation of that. But I think it's really basics, like values and vision. In my dark ages, like I said, from the age of 10 to 17, I was the worst kid. Like if we go deep into what kind of a kid I was a street kid. I got into, trouble, crime. I was doing all sorts of bad things. My mother never turned away her love from me. She never said, you're going to be a low life, you're going to be nothing because of what you're doing, how you're acting. She never turned away her love from me. And that is what allowed me to get my act together, to be like, hey, there's always going to be a person that loves me. And if you think about it, even a lot of people, when they're building businesses, they're building out of that unfulfilled love. Many times people have not received this type of love in their life, and they're always striving to get that feeling of like, you're good enough. But the message that I've received when I was growing up, you're good enough, even if you're a total loser and you're low life and you're a criminal, I'll still love you. That is the gift that I can now give to others. I can give it to my ex-wife, and as anyone has known, if you would see me and my ex-partner Mimi, you would still think we're together.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that.
You'd be like, we were actually joking on the vlog I filmed the other day. We're like, everyone thinks it's fake. It's all for like just story. That we're actually together. Because yeah, even if you see us now, we have probably a better relationship than most couples who are.
Yeah, you do. Absolutely.
So that's my kind of tip, is like show real love. And if you don't know what that is, like dig deep within yourself, learn into it, and be able to, most importantly, show that love towards yourself. Because most of the time, I think we're our biggest critics, and we're the ones that are the most hardest on ourselves. And then that transfers to other people in our lives.
I mean, there's something that you touched on, the two of us have spoken about a lot, but love is not something you fall into. It's a decision that you make to grow, right? Most people want it. Most people want to work towards it. But what I hear a lot in the rooms that we're in and in society these days is people can't even find a partner to get anywhere near that stage with. They're complaining about the new generation of men, the new generation of women, and they can't meet the right person they're looking for. And success in dating, I found, comes from moving on as fast as possible from people that are wrong for you. And I love that you're talking about this exchange of desires and values early on, because you can kind of figure out what the other person is looking for and is not looking for in the early days. Are there any other tips that we can share with the audience about that early the early process of finding a partner versus just building with a partner?
As we chatted about before, the importance of getting to know who you are. Because oftentimes we're seeking into other people of ways that maybe what we're missing, what we want to fulfill us. And in reality, we don't even know ourselves well. We don't know even like what we're good at, where we bring also value to others. What are the things that we need to work on? What do we suck at? What do we like? What do we don't like? And sometimes, like you said, dating and getting to meet some people can help expedite some of those things if you are able to have that awareness of when you're with other people that you're seeing. From me now going back to the dating pool and having new relationships and dating, what I see is the reason why many people may not succeed in this way to get further into their relationships is they're not being authentic with themselves first. They're afraid to get hurt. Hence, they're not willing to put themselves out there to the point where they're all trying to play it cool. And so what we have is just people trying to play it cool, not showing off not their authentic self. And if you're not showing off your authentic self, potentially you will attract people who will not like you for who you truly are. Once you take that mask off and the person's like, whoa, that's not who I thought you were. So I think the best way to speed this all up, just be who you are. And the person that sticks, that likes you, is the person that you're going to actually enjoy spending time with. Because imagine you're putting up this front of like who you are and buying 1,000 roses or whatever it was. I'm just dropping some Dubai references for you. And then
maybe rose buying is a part of somene's identity.
If it is.
Listen, culturally, you're originally Russian. 101 roses, odd number, 1,001, whatever it is. They really,
I know, but I'm saying,
love that.
So if they're into that, let them do it. But if it's not authentic to you, don't try to show up up front, and then you're gonna stop doing that the moment you get back to your regular self. Because the best relationships that we all know we see is when you see that person, they're being themselves. Is when that feeling of like, I feel home. That's what love is to me. Is when I feel home, I can relax, take off my shoes, and just like chill and be comfortable with that person. But a lot of people are putting up front, and then they're like, I don't like this person in my house even. Yeah, how are you going to move in with them?
I feel blessed that because of the years of our friendship, whenever I get any advice from you or am inspired to try a new thing in my life, it doesn't sound intimidating. It just sounds purely inspiring. But I know that myself 5 years ago, I would not be as receptive to the things you tell me that I should practice and consider because it was so alien to me back then. But naturally, baby steps plus time, things improve. For our viewers today who feel so incredibly far from the mindset that you've able to grow into, are there any small things they can practice just today as a first step on their growth journey towards a mindset of gratitude, a mindset of abundance, and a mindset of kindness, both to themselves and to the people around them?
Yeah, for sure. Like for me, everything changed when I started doing one action each day. And what I did was train myself. When I'd wake up, I would just say one thing that I'm grateful for, right? So I'm not telling you to get the 5-minute journal. I'm not telling you to get any even notebook. If you can practice.
You say it out loud.
If you want, you can say it out loud. So for myself, the way I've trained myself to do this, as soon as I wake up, either I wake up, open my eyes and say one thing that I'm grateful for, just in my head. And sometimes if I forget, I step into a shower and then I can even say it out loud there in the shower. You can talk to yourself in the shower. You can sing in the shower. And so for me, I think that's one piece of advice, one takeaway from this whole podcast that I believe can change people's lives is if you just start saying one thing that you're grateful for each day, it will completely change your life. Because another thing is through the practice, we kind of did a lot of research when we created the 5-minute journal. And there's a website called Quora where people submit their kind of questions and people submit their answers to it and their advice. And it can also be like professors from Stanford who give their advice there. And there's one man, he said, one thing that changed my life was when I was going through a very hard time, is my therapist said, when I come home, I don't complain. I just say one good thing that happened in my day today to my partner. And he said just that habit of practicing of saying one good thing that happened today versus complaining about your day changed his whole relationship with his wife, his life, because all of a sudden it started compounding. He wasn't coming off as this negative bastard to his wife anymore. He himself was starting and noticing the good that is actually happening in life versus many people come home and they just think of,
There's always a reason to,
yeah. But at the same time, you can be thinking about, hey, you know, that one deal was really well. That went well today.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that in my books.
Literally just being an optimist.
Yeah. But the way you become an optimist is through this daily practice.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I want to encourage people doing is just, like I said, don't overcomplicate it. You don't have to journal for an hour. You don't even have to journal for 5 minutes. You know, like if you don't have the time to create a thought, one thought in your day that can appreciate whatever that you may appreciate in your life, that can make all the difference.
Mm-hmm. I love that. In a very Gstaad guy fashion, on this podcast, we talk about the things that we celebrate and consider to be fantastique and the things we'd like to change and the things we consider to be à la poubelle.
Love it.
What I think is fantastic for me today is my new friendships with people like you that have helped me grow on this journey of self-awareness and kindness and gratitude. À la poubelle are the people in my life that did not help me grow in that direction and that I made a tough decision to actually stop spending time with, which can be difficult, but I encourage people to consider the same on my side. I never have shared my Fantastiques or La Poubelles before, but I really want to share these two because they were top of mind with everything you've said. Most importantly, I'd love 2 or 3 Fantastiques from your side and 2 or 3 à la Poubelles as well, which could be about the business you find yourself in, the society you're surrounded by, or just the world in general.
Thank you for sharing yours. Okay, so I'll say Fantastique is for sure being here with you in your private jet.
Thank you. I worked very hard for this.
And just having this conversation, be able to share, being honest with your audience. I think that's fantastique. I think what's fantastique is the Intelligent Change Summit coming up next week.
It is.
As you know, it's a celebration of life and me creating an experience for other people to see the world from my lens of positivity, of optimism, of life is already psychedelic without having to drink, without having to do any drugs. Life is already incredible.
That's true.
It's fantastic.
Do you have a no hat policy? I feel like you do because you have all these incredibly value aligned people and there's no shaman hats. They're all just dressed normally.
There might be 1 or 2 out of 180 people, but
it's pretty good.
It's a pretty
good
like
ratio. The average restaurant.
Especially in Ibiza.
Yeah, it's all these very grateful people who are dressed like civilians.
Yeah. And number 3, fantastique, I'll say me going back to creating content. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here with you and share with others. Also, Cameron, my videographer, is with me as well. We're shooting a vlog, we're capturing content, I'm launching a podcast. Because similar to what I see, there needs to be more voices in the world speaking about the good and opportunities in a world where it's always focusing on like how it's bad. I truly believe the world is beautiful. But switching, I guess, to little Poubelles in regards to what's not going so well. I think currently London is Poubelle.
Why? Because
people like you are leaving. A quarter of my friends have left London. I'm still here in the city. I'm holding down the fort for so many people, but many people have moved to Dubai, Milan, Monaco.
For the audience, can you share the main reason why people are leaving?
People are leaving because of the whole non-dom situation. So the
taxation.
Taxes, yeah. And
Are there any other reasons why you think they might be leaving?
I think the non-dom is a big one for our our community. Two is really that the government doesn't support the entrepreneurial spirit as places like Dubai does or UAE. I think especially or around other regions now in the Middle East are coming up. I was the person, if you asked me 18 months ago, I wouldn't even want to stop over in Dubai. Like I wouldn't even want to stop there. That's how much I didn't like the place. But I started visiting, 18 months ago, and I love the place.
It's a very cool place.
I love, most importantly, what I love about it is now the energy's there, the people are there, and it's people who are optimistic about the future. They want to build together. They want to make deals, and the government supports that. So that's where I think governments like the UK should take note, because the energy right now is a little poubelle. It's stale. Even though I love the place, I think it's one of the best cities in the world. But we need to have that energy back. Another poubelle, I would say is, I don't know. It's the opposite for me. It's hard to come up with poubelle. I think poubelle, of course, getting divorced. I'll say that it's not. I loved my wife, so it was not my decision there. But at the same time, there's positives there for sure that I'm experiencing in life. So, but it is a poubelle. I always turn lemons into lemonade. And third poubelle, I would say is
if you don't have one, we can.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's good. I'm good with two poubelles. More Fantastiques.
London now and divorce.
Yes.
Well, Alex, thank you so much for being on this podcast. Thank you for being as vulnerable and open as you always are. And every time I sit with you, I learn a lot from you. So I'm incredibly grateful for you as a friend, as a business partner, and truly a brother. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this conversation and looking forward to more fun times ahead.
Me too. Let's go back to Gstaad and camp in Gstaad.
Let's do it.
In Laura Piana tents.
Yes. That's the way.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Gstaad Guy podcast. If you're keen to learn more, please follow along by engaging with our social channels on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Merci beaucoup, à la prochaine, and a big hug from the Gstaad Guy.